Hello dear students, today I will discuss Michelson-Morley experiment. Michelson-Morley experiment basically is an interference experiment which was performed in 1887 by Michelson and Morley. Their aim was to prove the existence of ether. So what is ether? In the late 19th century, from EM theory, scientists came to know that light and other EM wave do not need any medium to travel. They can travel in vacuum. But the scientists are not convinced to the fact that any wave can travel through vacuum. So for that, they assumed that there must be some medium in between sun and earth through which the light or the other EM wave travels. And since this medium is undetectable, we need some special experimental setup to prove that ether exists. And they assumed that this ether, including sun, acts as the inertial frame at rest. And with this inertial frame of reference, the speed of light is maximum and c. And they also wanted to show that if the speed of light is measured from any moving object which is moving in this ether wave, like our sun, our earth, then the velocity of light will increase or decrease according to the direction of motion of the earth on sun. So if we just assume this is our sun and this is earth, and earth is rotating around a orbit. This is the orbital velocity, okay, we can say. So here is the medium ether, and in this medium, when light wave travels, its velocity is c. So here our ether acts like a string, and our earth acts like a spring which is moving with its orbital velocity v. And we want to find out the velocity of light. And velocity of light measured with respect to this ether frame as assumed by the scientist, that is c. And if we just want to find out the velocity of light with respect to S prime frame, that is our earth, that will simply depend on the direction of the motion of the light. So depending on this principle, Michelson and Morley designed their interference experiment. Now another thing to mention about ether. Ether is a medium which has zero density and transparency 1. That's why ether does not create any hindrance in the path of the electromagnetic waves. Now what Michelson and Morley designed? They designed an interference experiment. So as we all know, for interference experiment we need a light source. What type of light source? Monochromatic light source. For interference, we know that we need two light sources. So they extracted two light sources from one monochromatic source. They used a mirror to divide this beam of light. So one beam of light transmits through the mirror M. We can say this is ray 1 and it falls on mirror M. and another one reflects and falls on mirror M2. Again this ray falls back on the mirror M, and this ray also write down again. Okay, so this one is ray 2, this length from M to M2, this is L2, and M to M1, this is L1. Now these two rays interfere, we get an see an interference pattern on the screen. Now what type of interference pattern we see? The mirror M1 and M2, they are set in such a way that the angle between them, M1 and M2, that is slightly less than 90 degree. Theta is very small. So it acts like a wedge-shaped film. So we get an interference pattern on the screen due to an wedge-shaped air film. So now we have to calculate the path difference. For that, this whole setup, whole interference setup is on earth, and they have assumed that in this direction there is an ether wind. Since we know that the relative velocity between ether and earth is v, so we can take any one of these two frames as rest and the another one is moving. So they have taken earth as rest and the ether wind as moving frame. Since we know that the velocity of light rays c in the ether wind, so when light will move in the earth frame, its velocity will change. How its velocity will change? Now when light is moving along this direction, so the velocity is opposite to the velocity of the ether wind, and the velocity of light becomes c minus v. When it is moving along these ones, that means velocity of ether wind and velocity of light is along same direction, so its velocity becomes c plus v. For ray 2, the velocity becomes the cross train. When ray 2 travels, so its original velocity is not c, it will get some relative velocity. Or we can say that when ray 2 travels starts from this point, and when it reaches M2, then already M2 is shifted from its position. So at first we will calculate the time taken by ray 1 to reach the screen, or the path of ray 1, we can say 1, since the time is t1, we can say it is simply L1 by c minus v plus L1 by c plus v. You can write this one L1 by c into 1 by 1 minus v square by c square. Now for ray 2, what happens? When the ray 2 starts from this point, it is initially at t is equal to 0, and when it reaches at m2, since the ether wind is dragging, we can say the earth frame is moving, the m2 will be shifted. So the path is actually cross path. We can take the velocity of light as some relative velocity, or we can take the path as cross path. And when again it reaches back to this is our mirror M1. So again when it reaches back to mirror M1, it is its final time, you can say T2. So when it reaches M2, the time is T is equal to T2 by 2. And the distance between these two positions is nothing but the velocity into T2. And this is L2. So, the total path for ray 2, we can write down this as 2 into L2 square plus V T2 by 2 whole square to the power half is equal to C into T2. T2 is the total time taken by the beam 2, the total path M to M2 and M2 to M. To travel from M to M2 and then M2 to M, this is the total time taken by ray 2. And total time taken by ray 1 is from M to M1, again M1 to M is T1. Now solving this equation, what we get? We simply get T2 is equal to 2L2 by C into 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. And this is nothing but L2 square V2 by 2 whole square. And 2 times this path. So what we get? T2 is equal to 2L2 by C, 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. So the path difference is equal to, you can just simply write this delta T, it will be T1 minus T2. So 2L1 by C into 1 by 1 minus V square by C square minus 2L2 by C into V square by C square. This is our first case. Now what is the second case? What they have done? Now they have just rotated the whole frame. They have rotated the whole experimental setup. If they will rotate the whole experimental setup, then ray 1 will be here and ray 2 will be here. So that will change the velocity of the light for ray 1 and the velocity of light for ray 2. So that must include some path difference which will change the interference pattern. They expected that. So what is our case 2? Case 2 is the whole interference setup is rotated 90 degree. If it is rotated 90 degrees, so what happens? So ray 1 is now cross stream. And ray 2 is now along up and downstream. So what will be the path difference? So we will calculate the path for ray 1. So this is the, if we just take as a primed set, so T1 prime simply becomes 2L1 by C into 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. And for ray 2, what is becomes? Just it will reverse. 2 prime is equal to 2L2 by C into 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. So what will be the path difference between the ray? Now simply T1 prime minus T2 prime is equal to 2L1 by C into 1 by minus 2L2 by C into 1 by root 2. Sorry, this will be minus V square by C square. Since the paths will be reversed, initially the T over T1 it was 1 by 1 minus V square by C square, and for T2 it was root over 1 minus V square by C square. Now since the streams are altered, so we get this one, root over 1 minus V square by C square. Now just this is equation 1, this is equation 2, this is our equation 3, this is equation 4, this is equation 5, and this one is equation C. Now if you see, this one is equation 3 and equation 4. Now the change in path difference, after 90-degree rotation, is simply delta t minus delta t prime. Okay, so if we write delta t minus delta t, what we get? 2L1 by C into 1 by 1 minus V square by C square minus 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square plus 2L2 by C into 1 by 1 minus V square by C square minus 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. Now simply taking 2 into L1 plus L2 by C out, what do you get? 1 by 1 minus V square by C square minus 1 by root over 1 minus V square by C square. Now in this experimental setup, now here L1 is equal to L2 is equal to L. So we can simply put 2L by C. Now if we do binomial expansion and we neglect the higher orders, what we get? Get 1 plus V square by C square minus 1 minus V square, taking binomial expansion and neglecting higher orders. So simply we get 2L by C into V square by 2C square. is equal to L by C into d square by c square. Okay. So this is the path difference. Now this path difference will include some phase difference, and for that phase difference what we will get some shift in the interference pattern. But in the actual experiment, any shift in the interference pattern was not visible. The L length was taken actually very long. So the experiment, not any shift of interference pattern was seen. So if there is not any shift in interference pattern, then what we can say? We can say that the concept of change of velocity of light with respect to the observer's motion is wrong. So since change in the pattern was not seen, that means ether is not present. So if there was some ether and with respect to ether the speed of light was c, then this experiment must show some positive result. But this did not show any positive result. So this was a failed experiment. This was basically a failed experiment. But from this failed experiment, what consequence we get? We get that although the observer is moving, can move in different directions. This experiment was repeated in different places on Earth on different time of the year, because to take into account the rotational motion of the Earth also. But there was not any change seen in the interference pattern. That means the concept of ether, there must be something wrong. And this experiment correctly proves that the velocity of light does not depend on the velocity of observer. Unlike sound and other waves, which is experimentally proved that the velocity of sound wave changes when the observer's velocity changes, but it is not that in case of light. Now there is a small homework for you. Since I have shown here what will be the path difference. Now show homework to show what will be if there is some change, what will be the change, how the change in the interference pattern for this path difference. So this is your homework. So Michelson-Morley experiment clearly shows us that the velocity of light does not change with the change in direction of the observer velocity, and it is nullify the concept of the ether frame, which the scientists assumed that in between sun and earth there must be some inertial reference frame which is at rest and with respect to which speed of light is maximum. Okay, for today it is your class, and the next thing we will discuss in the next lecture. We will discuss on the next lecture. Thank you for watching.